Ladies and gentlemen, we have another session, the last session before we're going to have a break. So it's going to be a unique session. Let me call to the stage for a talk about the OT path to cyber excellence. The senior cyber consultant at the Israel Electric Corporation, Yosi Shneck. Yosi, the stage is yours.
So first, let me present a little bit the Israel Electric. I know that most of you are familiar with it, but we are supplying electricity for almost 100 years to State of Israel. It was actually founded, the company was founded about 25 years before State of Israel was founded. We are one of the biggest industrial companies in Israel. We are defined as a supercritical infrastructure. And interesting point, we are one of the most tech companies actually in Israel and maybe in the whole world. So we have combined our 25 years of cyber battle experience and insights and practices and tools and developed a unique wall-to-wall cyber sturdiness layer that we call SOFIC. SOFIC in ancient Greece means actually wisdom, and we put a lot of wisdom in it, a lot of experience, and I would like to share it with you today. Not all of it, but some point of it. So let me start to talk about the current stage of the exponential world, and the current stage is actually a paradigm change. Esti also mentioned it. It is a direct result of automation, autonomous systems, distribution, high-level communication, supercommunication, coming quantum computing, and many other things. And it brings actually a world that is saturated. Maybe I can call it simply with IoT, but it means it's saturated with millions and millions of different points and systems, very sophisticated, but interconnecting each other. Just an example, interesting point, about 7,620 new devices are connected to the system every minute today. So we are not talking about IoT devices as a device. It's actuators, it's sensors, it's communications, it's protocols, it's vendors, it's companies, it's different things, it's providers and everything. So another name for it is digitalization. And we have used the term digitalization mainly for business and organizational processes. Today, we are coming to a situation when digitalization is appearing also in our OT, SCADA, and ICS world, or the world of operations. And I interpret it as an additional paradigm change. So those two paradigm changes that are directly responsible for the enormous growth of the cyber attack surface, creating a highly fertile soil for different adversaries, cyber criminals, terrorists, hacktivists, kiddies, moles, and state actors. In my opinion, this trend is growing. Cyber attack surface will continue in the future too. So after describing my perception of the current and future cyber state, I would like to touch one another essential missing part and several key actions to reduce the risk and increasing cyber threat, mainly on the OT systems. So based on considerable number of compromises that we have studied, we have analyzed, and we have checked, I have to say that we screened out several points or common reasons that are common for most of those compromises. And we are talking on very thorough analysis that we have done. And we have translated those common reasons in IC to models, tools, and methodologies and processes, how to actually raise our ability and deal with those things. So just before diving into it, let me clarify an important point. Those solutions that I'm going to describe are not replacing the traditional and current cyber defense and resilience methodology tools, system and standards. They are an additional layer, adding neglected or overseen cyber activities, and in some places, penetrating the traditional layer. It is one of the main reasons that although our investments and efforts in cyber are increasing constantly and significantly, the number of adversary successes are increasing too. And it's very strange because usually if you invest a lot of effort, you must see some trends that you are fighting it. And we are seeing the trend is going up all the time. So as of the time of limitation, I will not be able to present all of them. So I have chosen a few of them covering different angles, and we will be more than happy to be in touch with you and actually to explain all our methodologies and services. It doesn't matter if you are in your first OT project implementation or integration of process or planning changes like upgrading your system, adding additional components, or any other change. Do not start before you are ready. Do not start before you actually don't know what exactly you have, where exactly you are. A thorough planning stage based on full knowledge of your current cyber state is required to prepare it. Yes, it means to perform different assessments to accomplish this task, and only after you do it, you can really plan and you can really execute your stages, your cyber stages successfully. The assessment segment includes a rapid assessment package including 5 unique assessment dimensions. All rapid, and rapid is very, very important here because it enables you the second parameter. It's efficiently repeatable. You are not doing assessment once a year or in 2 years. You have to do it repeatedly because all the environment is changing all the time. It is adjusted to the organization. It's aligned to the planned cyber standards and even to the external atmosphere. So let me describe very shortly 3 of those 5 models and tools. And I will start with the first one that actually talks about OT, IoT, and IoT, and I am adding the last one, VT. I will explain what I mean. Actually, we have found that dealing with those models of increasing IoT devices and increasing digitalization entities is not so simple. You have to find some model that actually brings you to a world that everything connects. You can see the influence between those things. You can analyze everything. So we created the Rubik in the ring model. Okay, this is a model that actually is built from a cube with 6 different sides of the cube. 3 of them seen, and 3 of them are unseen or hidden. The 3 seen are digital tier, process tier, and people tier. And the hidden one are different tiers, and I will explain shortly in a minute. This model is actually based on more than 40 different sources of standards, of frameworks, including IEC long experience and models that we implement, and including the Israel National Cyber Directorate standards. It's based on Industry 4 and looking forward to the Industry 5 model that actually talks about human-robot interactions and human-robot world, but it also includes the older ones, the Industry 3 models and everything, because I will talk about it a little bit in few minutes. We are living in a world that is not one-aged world. We are living in a very complicated one, and it's integrated with your business. So I talk about those digital tiers, people tier and process tier. Everyone includes 9 different layers And those layers, actually, if you are going, I'm not going to read all of them, but if you are looking for in the people, it include training, collaboration layer, attention layer. In the process, we are talking about validation layer and about the different things. And on the digital tier, for example, on the HMI layer, interface layer. So if you are looking at all of those 27 different layers, it covers every corner of our new digital world. And going to the hidden tiers include two different additional very interesting models. Again, I have to say all these models are fully deterministic. It brings you at the end of the day with fully understandable abilities, how to build, how to improve, how to implement those things. And the first one, we call it the Sophic IoT Labyrinth. The Sophic IoT Labyrinth actually calculates the different influences between those 27 different layers. So those layers are not separated only by their functionality or by the team that they are dealing with. There are also influence from different sides, and it's multi-influence of the different layers, one between the others. So it's additional thing that enhances the ability to provide you with, let's say, high-level security and cyber for your IoT models. And the second one is organization characteristics. We are analyzing different organizational characteristics and including them of their influence on this calculation. So for example, you can see we are analyzing the geopolitical positioning, the economical positioning, social positioning, business positioning, public relation exposure of the organization, everything. And all this is calculated, providing you a full plan, secure plan, not only for cyber, but also for proper IoT, sophisticated system implementation. The second one, I heard it several times in the presentation today and yesterday too. 95% of cybersecurity breaches are due to human error. I put here some reference, but there are a lot of reference. You know, maybe I agree, maybe it's true, but and we know, and we have to do all of what I wrote here. We must train, we must work on awareness, we must work on to improve our knowledge, to improve our policies and procedure. But we have a different statistics. In addition to this, we have a different statistics. 100% of compromises could have been avoided or handled with significantly less consequences with better cyber organization. Now, when I'm talking about cyber organization, I know everybody sees the cyber department or something like this. No, this is not a cyber organization. Cyber organization is actually the ultimate engine that is providing best possible organizational cyber resilience and sturdiness results. It includes your internal entities. It includes your external entities. It includes informal employees in your organization that are influencing and dealing with cyber. It includes PR and media. It includes external regulatory government. It includes the board of directors. And on the other hand, from other point of view, it includes your politics, your culture, your integration abilities, your governance, your personal ability. So it's something, again, deterministic model that at the end of the day, we are able to mark the quality of your cyber organization in the broad view of cyber organization. So for example, INCD, that is our regulatory body, because we are being a supercritical infrastructure, he is part of the cyber organization. He influences our activities. His ability are influencing our activities. So we are actually looking on those things. So this is cyber organization. It's translated in a deterministic model. Again, we believe only in deterministic things that we can show and translate them to real action, how to do. So you see the loop, what is happening, and some example of different KPIs that we actually bring to the table at the end of the day. Accountability perception, personal communication quality, organization community, communication policy, professionality, supportiveness, informativeness, and additional KPIs that are part of our methodology. The last one is maybe the most important one. We call it rapid cyber maturity assessment, but I call it other way. Know yourself. What we have found in our different investigations is that most of the company don't have a full understanding what is happening in the company. They don't even, their asset managers is, for example, maybe very good in some points of the company, but in other points it's very, very big. And this is the fertile soil for the adversaries to attack. So first of all, any company, any organization must do a thorough learning of know yourself. So first, it's a maturity of wall-to-wall cyber issues. Alignment, it's aligned to specific organizations. So we are not doing something that is out of the blue, but we align it to organization we are doing it in Israel Electric, and it's something that is done periodically. It's based on clear deterministic KPIs. It maps out not only your weaknesses, it maps out your strengths too. Because many organizations are investing in things that there is no need to invest. Buying additional tools, buying everything, but they don't contribute anything to their cyber standards, and it's true mainly in the OT environment. And clear prioritization. We are providing also, and we are doing it for IC, cost-benefit analysis of the cyber investment. Because if you are investing in something that brings you higher value in your cyber sturdiness and your cyber resilience, it's good to prioritize and to invest in it. If it has also only a low or low influence, don't invest in it, or at least not separately. And as you can see, I will just show it very quickly, but we are providing deterministic level of about 22 different families that are based on hundreds and even more than 1,000 different controls, very efficient, gathered very efficiently, very closely. Many controls that are not regularly implemented in different assessments. 6 additional families that are, you will not find them in any of the regular assessment. It's converged into a domains, different domains, 7 domains, and at the end of the day, you get your final grade, but it can be detailed until the last control indicator or the one of the 1,000 or 1,200 different indicators that you are to understand what you have to do. It's actually prioritized, and it gives you also a understanding where you are in the TPR model, technology, people, and procedure model, where you have to invest more, when you are weaker. And the last thing, if you are familiar with the IPDRR, with the identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover model, this is the model, but maybe in your organization, it's something that the priority is different, as you can see here in this example. So it gives you different angles to understand what are you doing. The last thing I would like to talk about, the last subject I'm going to talk about, is validation and testing. Modern OT processes are undoubtedly facing more changes than we were used to. Because of the changing world, once we installed the OT system in a factory or in a utility, it lasted there without changes 20 years, 25 years, nobody touched it, nobody. Now we are facing lot of changes. It's technological changes, hardware changes, software changes, different policies, procedures, vendors, and in parallel, we must still, and mainly, for example, in electricity, water, gas, or anything, you must still supply uninterrupted, reliable, quality products or services that you are providing to your customers. We are not talking about the deployment stage. We are talking about the whole life cycle of our systems. Those changes are not only in the deployment stage, not only in the maintenance stage, not only in the operational stage, they are happening all the time. An additional challenge we have to deal, and I promise that I will talk about it a little bit, is actually talking about what I call multi-age. You know, when we are replacing systems, mainly systems like in the critical system environments, it is not done on basis on replace and through. It's usually upgrading or adding new system, but still using in the same environment the old system. So for example, if I'm taking the electricity industry or the electric utility industry or water utility, we can find in the same process aging systems that are actually based on the old methodologies and technologies. We can find PLC system, and we can find at the end of the day also different additional things. But the amazing things that I am seeing, that most of the systems, the changes are done directly on the production state, on the production system. And we are providing a validation tool. This is the aging system. We are providing a validation tool that is called Sofix Zone, a platform that provides service and very efficient emulation of your OT system and gives you ability to validate any change that you are doing on a playground that is not directly connected to your operational system. It's a dedicated environment, covers all the life cycle, gives you a simulation of your operational activities and of your cyber activities, and very, very efficient one. So Esti, I heard that she said that the airport, their company is gate to Israel cyber activity. I can say that Israel Electric is the core of Israel's cyber activity, and we invite you to be in touch with you, and we know how to do it. Thank you very much.